Okay, like I said, we're starting today with the guillotine, or the guillotine as it's called in English. It's a choke, and we're going to spend today just doing simple mechanics for the choke and how to escape, and that's it. We're just going to go into a pretty standard guillotine, so on your knees. So we're not going to worry about entries or anything today. I just want the choke to be nice and clean and efficient. And we'll worry about entries tomorrow and in the next couple of weeks. So just for getting in, the standard kind of guillotine is I bring his head here under my armpit, and here's the first thing I want everyone to worry about in terms of details. This arm, I want it to be elbow deep on his chin, and my hand needs to be on so my elbow is basically at his chin, and my hand is basically at his shoulder here, okay? This is probably already not very comfortable for you, right? Yeah, exactly. And I am not doing anything. I've literally just wrapped my arm around his head. I'm not pressing. I'm not even trying to choke. I am leaving out 90% of the mechanics. This is just me getting his head, my arm around his head. This arm, a lot of people grab here on this because you want to make sure he can't just back out. So if he just backs up now, he can get his head out. And I want to keep him from doing that. I personally like to wrap my arm like this around his shoulder. Now, I've also done two things with this. The first one, I kind of pinned my hand on my chest with his shoulder. So this is already kind of tight, which gives me an advantage because now if he tries to fish for this hand. Yeah, not that easy, is it? Yeah. And also, I've got a hook here in his shoulder, so if he tries to back up, he pulls me with it. Okay? So, I just want to start with just that, okay? Just those two details. We're going to go into where to put the legs and everything next, but first, just doing those few details, okay? So pull him in, make sure his head is under your armpit, pull the elbow to his chin, wrap the other arm around his shoulder, and just those points for right now, okay?
Can you show me too?
Yeah, oh yeah. The obligatory no-gi guy in the gi class. So, like I said, I come in here, bring the arm under my armpit, wrap the head around his neck, or the arm around his neck, not the head, that would be an interesting choke. And this arm goes in here. And we're just doing this, nothing else, okay? Like I said with Jan, guessing Sasha, this is already not comfortable for you. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, you can still breathe, I'm not choking you, but it's like, I don't like this. This is not good. Yeah, you can feel it's going to get a lot worse, yeah. Okay, so just that. Okay, so like I said, I think this entry is looking good with everyone, so let's take it to the next step. Do it on this side. Now, general guillotine notes, and we'll do more of this when we start going into the escapes later today. Generally speaking, when I have the guillotine on this side, he wants to bring his body over here, because that would be his way to counter my guillotine. So if he can get into a side control on the opposite side of the arm that's choking him, he can save himself from the guillotine. So when I'm doing the guillotine, I want to prevent him from being able to do that, and that's where my legs start coming in. So, like I said, same entry as before, and now I sit myself down. I'm going to go slow, and I bring this leg up and over to block his way. So now if he tries to go in that direction, all he does is run into my leg. Yeah, okay? And a lot of people think, well, what if he goes to the other side? That's actually not bad for me. Yeah, he doesn't want to do that. He actually makes his choke worse if he goes that way. So, yeah. So that's just, yeah. That's the only problem is once you've got a hand in like that, it's kind of hard to get back out. Yeah. God, your face looks already red. He's got a red face. Yeah, so again, same entry as before, we're just adding the leg now. We're just basically blocking his path to this direction with our leg and making sure he can't just walk out. So I'll show it again, and then I'll show it with someone else so you can see it. So same entry as before. I have my hand nice and high. I can touch my own shoulder, hook my other arm into his shoulder here so he can't just pull his way out. And then I just pull him in and throw my leg over his back. I am not doing anything, and I'm betting this is very uncomfortable for you now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, that is just taking the position, and like I said, he's already getting a red face from this. So this is already, yeah, it's already very uncomfortable, and I'm literally just taking the position. I have not used any force. So this is very efficient so far. So now so that you can see it. Yeah. I gotta choke the Nogi guy. So again, same entry as before. And now I just sit down and take this leg up on his back. I'm betting this is also uncomfortable for you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay? So, a question he was asking is if I link my hands below, not with this one. There is a variation of the guillotine called the arm-in guillotine where you're doing that. That is not what we're doing right now. I'm literally just bringing the one hand up and the other I'm just hooking in, placing it somewhere that it's hard for him to grab. I'm just a quick note regarding this hand. I'm normally placing it here, either on my, I'm touching my forearm or touching my chest with the hand. And that's really all I'm doing with that hand. I'm not grabbing anything, and I'm definitely not doing this, because if I grab my own hand with this variation, now it's actually less problematic for you, isn't it? Which is more comfortable? This
is much more.
Yeah, or this.
Yeah, this is uncomfortable. And
yeah.
The other one has space.
Yeah, exactly. I have to do very different mechanics with this arm-in guillotine than with this one, which is why with this variation specifically, we do not grab the hand. Okay? We will do the arm-in guillotine later. I personally prefer to start with this one, because it's kind of the basic level guillotine, and two, honestly, this is the one I have the most success with. I can do the arm-in guillotine. I have low success with it. It's normally for me a transition to something else. But that's just me. Jan, for example, the big Jan, he can do the arm-in guillotine great. It feels like you're going to rip your head off. So, okay. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. Again, partner up, start bringing in the leg, blocking the hip. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got kind of the building blocks put in place. Now we're actually going to choke. A note in advance of this, I'm not going to go into the actual choke, but a lot of problems people have with the guillotine is they get their setup and then they start going like this with their upper body. And this is not good for the choke, because the whole point is I want my hand up high on my body, and I want things to go in deeper. And if I start pulling up, see how my hand starts sliding down my chest? This automatically, this is probably less uncomfortable for you now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of people, they get into the guillotine and they start doing this, and they start pulling up with their shoulders and their upper body. You do not want to do that. So when we're going into the guillotine, now let's actually do the guillotine. So what I'm doing is I'm getting my setup, coming in, blocking my legs, and now what I'm doing is instead of going back with my shoulders, especially now since my shoulders are on the ground, I'm going forward with my hips. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you heard it when I started going with hips. It's like, oh! Yeah, so, and that comes really fast then. Yeah. So you've got that set up, and then you just bring your hips in, and that kind of cranks his chin down and shoves everything into the arm that you've got on his neck, and that's where everything starts cutting off and he starts to choke right. Okay? So that's how this choke works. You're not pulling up, you're going in with your hips. So So it goes into what you were saying earlier, which we're going to cover later when we start doing the escapes. So, showing it one more time, and then I'll do it on something else so you can see it. Again, I come in here, I've got my setup, pull in, and now I go in with the hips. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm I'm picking up the hips. I'm actually really going in. I've got my foot on his back, and I'm actually pulling in with that foot. So I'm actually using that to, one, bring his hips lower and put weight on his hips. I'm going to try not to choke you quickly. It's going to be hard. Okay, so first thing, I'm using this to put weight on his hips so that, yeah, exactly. If he tries to get his hips up, try to, yeah, I've got weight on his hips here. And now if I go in, yeah. And I'm doing it more with this leg than I am with everything else. I have this other leg here blocking his hips, so I'm actually pulling in with this hook to get the hips in.
Would it be more effective to put this away so you can you touch it?
I don't think so actually, because the problem is now I've got your hips on my leg, and if because now I think this is actually harder. Because I've got more space between my foot and my knee. My hips are actually on the ground now. And if I've got my leg here, I'm not pinned to the ground anymore. Because that's the problem when I've seen people do it. This can work. I'm not saying this is impossible. I don't think it's particularly efficient because again, I'm separating this connection between my legs and my hips. And I'm putting more space between your hips and my hips. And that makes the choke harder for me to pull off. So I don't like having this leg in here. It can work, it requires more muscle, I need to pull more, and that's not what I want to do. I want to have a nice, efficient guillotine where I'm using 5% and he's already tapping. So that's why I don't like having my foot between his legs. I like having my knee here. I like having everything nice and close. I like being able to pick my hips up from the ground. I like that mobility more. And I also prefer that just because if for some reason something goes wrong, let's just say I did something wrong and I'm here and let's say you grab my hand and pull me out of the guillotine. Yeah. Well, now I still have things I can do. I have both my feet here. I can use both my feet to attack. If I have one here, no, you don't even have to just bring your knee on my leg. Now yeah, exactly. You go right into the knee pass. Or knee cut pass, exactly. And that's another reason I don't like that, because if we're like this, and for some reason you get out, well now I've still got a fairly good guard. I can start doing things like this. I can use my feet more. And if I have one here and you get out of my guillotine, I've cut my weapons in half.
Okay.
So again, you want to always be thinking, what if it doesn't work? I want to be in a good position so that I can keep going. So, okay.
Does the principle to push the hips upwards instead of straightening yourself apply to other guillotine
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah. You're gonna see that a lot.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so one more time so that Young can see it. So we're gonna come in here. Bring it in. Put on his hips and hips in. Yeah.
Mostly 2 centimeters.
Yeah, exactly.
The normal time is this.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's I said it 1,000 times. That's what I say when I mean in a mechanically clean choke. I mean, you're never going to get it that clean in tournaments or in competition or anything. Yeah, but if you're practicing for that level of efficiency and you only get 50%, that's still better than the person who's only training for 50% and gets maybe 5. So again, the more efficiency you're training for in training, the more efficient you're going to be in actual competition. Okay? So, now let's start choking each other a bit. Okay, so, not mentioned. So, we've been doing the whole mechanics and everything, and now we're going to start with the escapes. The first thing we need to make sure, I've been telling everyone this, when he's pulling you into the choke, just don't choke me up, but just kind of.
When you do this, you want to make sure that your arm actually go to the other side. Yeah, so that it's easier to see in the camera. Yeah, when you do this, you want to make sure this arm, go into your choke. Don't choke me up, but just go into your choke. You want to make sure that this arm, you're going to bring your leg in. Yeah, is above his leg. Okay? So
I've seen some people have their arms here, and this is a problem because now I can't use this in my escape anymore, and I need these arms, okay? So that's the first thing, just a mental note for you. When you notice someone's going into the guillotine, it's kind of like when you notice someone's going into the triangle. You don't want one arm up and one arm down. You want both arms up or both arms down. And in the guillotine, you want both arms up and over his legs. Because when he gets us in the guillotine, our first defense is to push his hips away. So we've been working with a mechanic, I mentioned that when we were doing the chokes. His way of choking me is to crunch and to bring his hips into me. So if I can push his hips away, then I am automatically reducing the amount of crank he's got on my neck, and that's going to ease the choke for me. So if he pulls me in,
this is my first one. I just take my hands, I've got my hands on his hips, and you can hear it in my voice right now, I think, actually. My voice sounds a lot cleaner and sounds a lot more, if I take my hands away, and yeah, I think you can hear on my voice that it sounds really bad. So this is our first defense, is we put our hands in our hips, put our hands on his hips and start pushing his hips away. And from here, the next thing I want to do is to start getting onto this side. Because if I go this way, no, don't let go. Because if I go this way, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You choke yourself.
yeah, exactly. I choke myself. I give him what he wants. So what I'm trying to do is to get on the other side and to go into a side control across his body, and that takes away the choke from me. So
Again, step one, I go in and immediately brace his hips. So from here, I start pushing the leg away and switch over, and now this is not pleasant, but his choke is gone.
yeah, he's not choking me anyways. It's not pleasant. He's got a little bit of the neck crank, but it's really. Do it one more time and just don't let go.
Okay, so comes in, I push his leg out, bring my body to the other side, and from here,
It's really easy for me to pull my head out. So, and now he has nothing, and I've got a nice side control. Okay? So, you need to see that, I'm assuming. Let me make my hair pretty. So he gets in his guillotine. Yeah. Nice and tight. Oh, this is gonna suck. Pulls me in. Yeah, go ahead. Here. Yeah.
and here, and here. I can pull over.
Look at my leg.
Sorry.
Oh no, you can't help it back in heavier than I am.
I'm not trying to do that. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so, but like I said, first step, push his hips away. That takes the edge off your choke. And then, as you can see, I'm essentially hopping over the leg. So I've even seen people do like headstands where they're like that. But then you hop over the leg and you're in a side control leg. So, okay, notice one important thing. I'm not hand fighting. Okay? The reason for that is the way he's got his hands, they're up high. I'm not going to grab them. Okay? If he's got his hands in the right positions, I'm not going to reach them. And all that's going to do is take time away from my actual defense of getting his hips away. I need my hands to move those hips away, that's going to take the edge off the choke. I can stay there for a nice long time. It won't be pleasant, especially if he's like putting a bunch of muscle in his choke. It's not going to feel good, but he's not going to put me to sleep either. I've got time. So this is my #1 priority, is pushing his hips away. So, okay, yeah. If I'm here, he gets me in the choke. Go ahead.
To this side?
Yeah. When I start hand fighting like that, you see he gets his choke. He gets it really fast too, especially since he's got nice big arms on my skinny neck. That's going to come really fast. So, again, that's why no hand fighting. Instead, hands used to push away on the hips. So, same situation. He gets his choke in. Yep.
Now, try the choking.
I can't actually.
Yeah.
I put pressure, but there's no choke.
Yeah, exactly. Again, not pleasant, but it's not choking me. I'm not going out. From here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, not pleasant. I don't want to spend all day there, but I'm not going to go to sleep. Okay? So that's why our #1 priority, push those hips down. Best is if you can really pin them to the ground. Okay?
Can I ask something?
Of course.
How do you get over the leg? Do you clear it in a way?
No, not really, not really. Part of it is,
You use your weight?
well, not so much my weight, but part of it is when I'm pushing your hips to the ground, I'm automatically pushing your foot away from my back as well. So you don't have as deep a hook as it is. And so you can see it.
I mean, like, I didn't feel that I could do anything about it. But
But like, if I get in here, if I push his hips down, automatically you see he doesn't have his knee on my back anymore. Yeah. And from here I can really just kind of go like that.
So I'm almost doing almost a cartwheel.
So the worst thing that can happen is that he changes your direction, that you can't go to the side, and it's more like a north-south.
Yeah, exactly.
Escape just to slide.
Yeah. I just escaped to a north-south instead of a side control. Yeah, but either way, I'm out of the choke. I mean, the very worst case scenario, this has happened to me on occasions doing this, is that I get here and we're both on our backs like this, but still I'm not getting choked anymore. So again, worst case scenario, and now I've got this nice big hole in his arm too, and now I can start getting my head up.
So it's a battle who's up first.
Yeah, exactly. After that is who's going first. Yeah. Yeah. But again, the goal is to not get choked. And that goal, and again, even if I go all the way over and land on my back, I'm still not getting choked, so I've got what I wanted. Okay?
It's cool to know that you're safe because head is stuck here and you go like this.
Yeah.
But here's nothing
Yeah.
dangerous, right?
Yeah. That's actually even more pleasant than when I've got my head in your guillotine like this. It's actually more pleasant on the throat.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so give it a couple of tries and then we'll slowly start going to some of our escape